Hello my precious little dragons, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today is going to be ever so slightly different. It's going to be more on the beauty side. As you can probably tell from the title, I'm going to be giving you some of my current beauty favorites. So I chose about 10 items and then I have some honorable mentions at the end. There's a decent mix of drugstore and a little more high-end. I just wanted to kind of share those with you and the reasons why I love them so much. I definitely had the hardest time with eyeshadow palettes. I may in the future just do a video on my favorite eyeshadow palettes because I love experimenting with them so much and I just love all the different colors and formulas. So it's a lot harder for me to choose my favorites of those than say like Complexion products. But that's pretty much it for my intro. I don't have these necessarily in any particular order. I'm just going to talk about them. So I have my favorite 10 and then my honorable mentions. Alright, I am wearing most of the products on my face today, so I will kind of talk about it as we go. Let's maybe just start from the complexion and work our way up. So this is one of my all-time favorite foundations. It is pretty well known. It's the Too Faced Born This Way foundation and I use the shade Swan. Why did I have to look? I know that. And honestly, it's just such a beautiful finish. You can build up the coverage from medium all the way up to full and it matches my complexion so well, which is something that is always difficult. I pretty much just go to the store, find the lightest shade and hope it works. But I do have a neutral skin tone, so that makes it a little harder. A lot of the fairest palest shades tend to be on the cool toned side, so it makes me look a little dead. And then if I go deeper, then it's obviously a problem because it just doesn't match. And I don't tan, so there's no summer shades and winter shades. It's just a single full shade of pale, or I'm covering up a sunburn. But this just works really well. It's perfectly neutral for me. It's very light. I can build it up however I see fit and it covers, you know, dark circles, discoloration, all that stuff pretty well. So it's just really nice. I love the feel of it. It wears really well on my skin. Good all around. They also they have a really good shade range, which is awesome. So if you're on the much deeper side, they have something for you. If you're on the fairer side, I can vouch, they have something for you. Also Complexion, so this is the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Concealer and this is in Cool Ivory. So again, it's the 095, so this is the fairest concealer they have. And so as I said in the foundation, because it's the fairest concealer they have, it is in a cool tone. So I really only use this for brightening under the under eye and occasionally like forehead, but I really don't want to give my skin too much of a cool tone because then it just looks off. But here, I'll show you a quick swatch. You can see like just on my skin, it's like one of the few shades I can really use for brightening, just because, you know, as you can probably guess, when you use basically the palest shade for foundation, there's not a lot lighter you can go for highlighting, so this works pretty well. It's a classic concealer for a reason. It's just that good. Alright, this one is a duo of products. This is what I use on my brows. I mean, it's not the only thing I use on my brows, but this is one of my like go-to consistent brow routine options. So this is the ABH Brow Wiz in Soft Brown and the ABH Dip Brow Gel, also in Soft Brown, I believe. Yes. So the reason I love these two is because this has a super fine pencil. You can kind of see it's very fine, it's very precise. So if you want to draw in very precise lines, it works perfectly well. I like the spoolie on the other end. It's just very soft. So if I'm going for a soft brow look, I can use just this. But because I suffer from Matt Smith eyebrowitis, meaning I have like eyebrows that are like 3, 4, 5 shades lighter than my natural hair color and they're sparse on top of it, my brows usually need all the help they can get, and that is where the Dip Brow Gel comes in. Like, it's extremely pigmented, so I can just brush this onto my brows and they look instantly like a million times better and I can just go for the day. So when I need to have like a really fast brow routine, I use just this one. When I'm willing to put a little bit more time into like making them look decent, I use kind of this combo, but it works super duper well. ABH is famous for their brow products for a reason, because they're really darn good. So that's those. I wish I had a makeup wipe on these so I could I'll just rub it off my hand, that's fine. Working our way up. So This is the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. I use this shade Light Bronzer. Again, this is like a favorite for a reason because it's just really, really good. Bronzer scared me for a really long time because, again, I am super duper pale. I don't naturally tan. So bronzers have a very big possibility of making me just look off. Like way too orange, way too muddy, like there's a million ways I can go wrong with bronzer. And so I just didn't use them for a long time because I was scared. But they do really bring a nice warmth to the face if you can find a shade that works for you. So this is one of the lightest bronzers I have ever seen. It's very nice. It also smells kind of coconutty, which is awesome. It's just very nice. It's a very soft formula. Here, I hope you can see that on the camera, hopefully. I don't have like a self-focusing camera where I can hold it up to the camera and hopefully get you to see it, so I just have to hold it by my face and hope the swatch is deep enough that you can tell. It's just something that I keep returning to that I really, really, really enjoy. Unfortunately, they don't have the widest shade range for their bronzers, so if you're more on the deeper end of the spectrum, they probably don't have something that'll work for you. Unfortunately, I really hope they expand this in the future because it is a really, really good formula. It's just super soft, buttery, as the name suggests, and it just gives a really nice warmth to the face. But if you're pale skinned, lifesaver. Well, warmth saver? Complexion saver? Lifesaver's a bit dramatic. Complexion saver. We'll go with that. Okay, so my next two products are going to be like cheek products. The next product I'm going to talk about is the Balm Cosmetics Balm Springs blush. It is a long wearing blush. It stays on the cheeks super duper long. I'm wearing it on my cheeks today in addition to the other palette I'm also going to talk about next. But it's just this beautiful kind of dusty mauvey pink. It's really, really soft and beautiful. It's one of my go-tos. As you can tell, I have already hit pan and this is my second one that I've gone through. It's just super duper pretty. Let's see if I can swatch it real quick. It's just very soft. You can build it up to a really, really bright blush, or you can leave it more, you know, just soft and undefined, but it's just one of my go-tos. I really, really love it. If you're looking for just a reliable everyday blush, this one's really good. And also, like, the Balm's packaging is super cute. It's got a very vintage retro kind of vibe. I love pretty much every product of theirs I've tried. Super fun. The next one I'm going to talk about, unfortunately, this one is no longer available, which is really, really sad, but I'm still going to talk about it because it's one of my favorites and go-tos, so if you don't have it already, I'm sorry. But this is the Besame Cosmetics Briar Rose Blush Palette. And so first things first, just look at this beautiful packaging. It's so pretty. I mean, I wasn't even sure if all the shades in here would work for me, but I mostly got it because the packaging was like to die for, because Besame does collab with Disney a decent amount. They're a indie brand. They focus on vintage cosmetics. They're one of my favorite makeup brands, but they put together this whole Sleeping Beauty collection that was just gorgeous. I have a few things from that collection, but this is one of the ones that I just use the most often. So I mean, I could just talk about the packaging for a while. I mean, how freaking pretty. It's got this like rose gold, and then it's got the like from the movie in the background. It's just, ugh, I can't get over it. Like, I will keep this after I've used up the whole product. So this is the inside of the palette. It comes with a mirror, which is awesome. So if you're just looking for something compact, you don't have to pack a separate mirror. Mirrors are always a win. So it comes with 2 blush shades and 2 highlight shades. So the bottom 2 are inspired by Sleeping Beauty's shades, and the top 2 are inspired by Maleficent. So I would say it works pretty well for my skin tone. I have to be very, very careful with these top 2. I use this mostly as a blush topper as opposed to a actual highlighter, because if I use it anywhere other than my cheeks, it will look absolutely ridiculous. This champagne-y shade though is really pretty everywhere. This is just, you know, your typical like cotton candy blush. It's very, very soft. And then this raspberry, again, I use a very, very light hand with it. It's good for an accent blush. I rarely use it on its own, but I will swatch all of them really quick for you. But if you just look at my hand, you can see like how nice and shiny the 2 highlight shades are, and then just how beautiful those are. Very fair skin tone. That's obviously what I can speak personally for. It works pretty well, and if you use a light hand, you can use all 4 shades. Next thing I'm going to talk about, we're moving on to eyes, is the Revlon Color Stay Skinny Liquid Eyeliner. So I do not really like the felt tip liquid eyeliners. They're just a lot harder for me to use for some reason. So this is actually a brush tip eyeliner. I do a lot of art and painting, so maybe it's just that a brush feels more natural in my hand. I don't know. But it's extremely skinny, extremely precise, so I used it on my eyes today. You can see I did a very thin eyeliner look. Now, the downside to a brush is if you're not used to it, it can take some getting used to, but it is extremely black, extremely pigmented. I mean, you can see that, but it's just one of my go-tos. No problems. It's just a classic, good, solid liquid eyeliner. Alright, so the next product I am going to talk about is the Juvia's Place Magic Mini palette. So I love pretty much every eyeshadow palette from Juvia's Place I've ever gotten. Again, it's a fairly newer brand, so it's, I would say it's getting, like, it's more well known now, so I'm not sure if I would call it indie quite as much anymore, but still kind of. So they just have extremely affordable, extremely pigmented eyeshadows. So, I mean, and also this packaging. So it is a Black woman-owned makeup company, so if that's something you're interested in supporting, that's also really cool. So all of their products are very inclusive, their shade ranges are very inclusive, their eyeshadow eyeshadow palettes are seriously where they shine. They're so good. So I included this palette just because I feel like it's the one I gravitate towards most, just because it has so many beautiful shimmers. And I don't know, like, it may be a little hard for you to see, but I used the shade Nubia on my eyelids today, so it's just this really, really pretty, like, true gold shade. But I do use a lot of these cooler shades down here as well, so it just kind of depends on the look. But since I went with red lipstick, I figured the warmer was a safer route to go today. So I just love all of these. Here, I'll see if I can swatch a couple of my favorites real quick. So I love this Yamoja shade. It's so pretty here. Like, look, in one swipe, it's so pretty. I also use the Ife shade a lot, which is this gorgeous, like, deep, deep purple. Here, so that's just like one swatch. If you build it up a little bit, I mean, you can see it's like crazy super pigmented. I mean, there's literally no denying that. So here, I will show you the Nubia shade I used today. Look how foiled in gold that looks. It's like in one swipe. That's crazy. So yeah, I'll just let you get one last look at these beautiful, beautiful shades. So they have like a ton of different palettes, so whatever color stories you're attracted to, they probably have something that fits that. This is one of their more colorful palettes, but because it has a mix of warm tones and cool tones, that's kind of why I gravitate towards it more. Alright, so next is the ColourPop and Kathleen Light's Dream Street palette. So this is one of my go-tos, as you can tell by how beaten up the front looks. So it is just one of those little palettes that I just love to keep returning to. This is a good everyday palette for me. It's one of those ones where if I am in a rush, I just want to put like a little bit of eyeshadow on really quickly, it's one I will go to. So it's got this cute little packaging. This is the inside of the palette. So it's fairly neutral with like pops of color, but I absolutely love it. This is like one of the reasons why it's my favorite like everyday palette, because it's something I can go into, but then it's got enough color in it that if I want to create something a little bit more dramatic, I can. So the shades I use the most are definitely this like Shooting Star and Magical. That's like my go-to like basic eyeshadow look. Like if I'm in a real rush, like I sweep Magical like all over the lid a little bit and then Shooting Star in the crease and I'm good to go. Super neutral, super soft, works really well. ColourPop is known for their really, really affordable but still really pigmented, high quality shadows. So I think if you're looking for something to start with, this palette is super good. I think it's still available, I hope. But I will just swatch a few of these shades. Also, this Kaleidoscope shade, like I don't use it a ton, but that's because it's like so crazy pigmented and intense. But I will just show it to you real quick because it's so pretty. Like, can you see that sheen? Here, I will show you Magical and Shooting Star since I just talked about those two shades in particular. So Magical is just, it's this nice kind of peachy shade. It works really well on my skin tone. Obviously, I can't speak to a ton of deeper skin tones, but I think that this has enough shade range in it that it would work well for a variety of different skin tones. The Shooting Star shade is just, it's just a little bit deeper version of the Magical shade, which is why it's kind of my go-to combo. I also use Stardust, Twinkle, and Sweet Dreams a lot when I want to add a little bit of sparkle to it. I use this palette like all over my eyes today, and I used pretty much like all of these. Like this whole row, this one, and then Moony. I like to use Moony in my inner corner a lot because it's just got this nice little like champagne-y sheen to it. So as you can tell, it's not like a super deep palette. I get a little scared to go into Elfish a lot because it's so deep. I use this very, very, very minimally. I used it like just in the the corner of my eye because it's pretty deep for me. If you have a deeper skin tone, that may work really well as like a transition, crease, whatever shade. So that's me raving about Dream Street. My last two are my lip products. So this is the only one of my favorites that I did not get on my actual face today, but the reason is that I had two lip products and the two I had don't mesh well together, so I had to choose, and I chose the other one. This is the Revlon Ultra HD Matte Lip Color, and it is in the shade Seduction. So this is one of my go-to just nude lip shades. It looks almost exactly the same as my natural lip color, so I will show you what it looks like. It is a very soft formula. It doesn't really dry down, so it does transfer a lot. So if you're looking for a matte lip color that will just like lock onto your lips and like not move at all, this is probably not the one for you. But the reason I like it is because it has that really soft formula and it leaves my lips still feeling hydrated. I hate dry, cracky lips. It's just, I don't like it. Do not tend to gravitate towards those like transfer proof, like locked on lipsticks. I mean, if there's minimal transfer, that's a bonus, but I look more for comfort and color payoff. And because this is just a really pretty nude color for me, it's just one that I've gravitated to. Like, this is like my second or third one that I've used, and it's just one of those like go-to shades and formulas that I keep returning to. And bonus, it also smells really nice. Alright, the very last one, so this is another Besame Cosmetics product. This is my absolute favorite lipstick out of their whole line. It is the Red Velvet lipstick. So I have always and forever been a fan of the classic red lip. It is one of my favorite makeup trends, and I don't think it's going anywhere for me personally. I love a good red lip, and this is one of my favorite ones. It's just got this like classic blue-red lip. It makes me feel confident, which there's another reason for that. So one of the reasons that I feel so confident with this lipstick is that this is Peggy Carter's exact lipstick shade. She actually wore the Besame lipstick in Red Velvet for her appearances as Peggy Carter. So when I wear this lipstick, I just feel like filled with the spirit of Peggy Carter. I just feel instantly more confident, ready to take on the world, punch a Nazi, like I feel confident in this lipstick. It is just, it's one of my go-tos, and it's super long wearing. It looks really, really beautiful with my skin tone. It's not super overpowering. It just looks really, really nice and classic, and you can tell. So the Besame lipsticks, they come in like a point. So when you first get it, it's really, really good for like precision application. They suggest using a lip brush with it. Anyway, so this one has obviously seen some wear and tear because again, it is one of my favorites, and it also at some point it got like smushed a little bit, so that was devastating. It made my heart hurt, but I still use it. So I tend to use it with a lip brush, but it's just a very soft formula. It stays on the lips all day, like even if you're eating like greasy food, drinking through a straw, all this different stuff. I mean, you'll see the product come off. It's not like transfer proof. Like, it just seems like it like magically stays on your lips, and especially if you do like the blotting technique where you like blot with a piece of tissue, it'll stay on your lips even longer. So it's just, it's a really impressive lipstick. It feels beautiful, it looks beautiful, it smells wonderful, the packaging is obviously gorgeous. So those are my top 10-ish favorite makeup products at the moment. I'm also going to fly through my honorable mentions. My first honorable mention is the ColourPop Disney Designer Collection Highlighter in Horse and Carriage. This is a very, very pigmented champagne-y gold highlight. I used just a touch of it on my cheeks today. I mean, like, you don't even need to, like, barely touch it, and it's just like boom, I am here. It's a very intense highlighter. The next one is the L'Oreal Voluminous Lash Paradise Mascara. This is the mascara I used today. It's just a very, very good classic mascara. It has a lot of lift to it, which I appreciate. It lengthens well. It doesn't clump, which I also really, really appreciate. I do not like the spider clumpy mascara look. It's a really good formula. The next one is the ColourPop Disney Designer Collection lipstick in the shade Belle. So this is Belle's shade of lipstick, a gorgeous mauvey pink. It's a little bit deeper than natural lip shade, but it's just really beautiful. I love to wear it. And also Belle's like my favorite Disney princess, so like, come on, was I not gonna mention her? Like, duh. An honorable mention for eyeshadow palettes. This is the Kathleen Lights and ColourPop So Jaded eyeshadow palette. Now the reason I love this one, it's not just because it has gorgeous packaging, but it has some massive shade versatility. I mean, there are so many freaking shades in this eyeshadow palette. Like, you can do like whatever look you want with this palette. They're all super good quality. They don't really crease or anything on the lid. They're very pigmented. All of them are like gem crystal shade inspired. It's just a super versatile palette, which I really, really love. And of course it's ColourPop. So I mean, like, because this is like a mega palette, it's a little more on the expensive side, but considering the amount of eyeshadows you get in there, it's still a really, really good price. Alright, the very last honorable mention I'm going to talk about is the Jackie Aina palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills. So Jackie Aina is one of my favorite YouTubers. She's amazing and wonderful, and I love her so much. ABH is a little more, I mean, they're high-end, so I had to save up a little for this particular eyeshadow palette, but I just love it. I love how much thought and effort Jackie put into making this eyeshadow palette truly her, from naming the shades to the colors, making sure that people of all different skin tones can use this palette. So she made sure it was ultra pigmented, so the colors would show up on the deepest of skin tones, but were also friendly for the fairest of skin tones. So this is one that when I really want a bold pigmented look, this is one that I tend to go to. The eyeshadow formula in this is incredible. It's so pigmented, so soft, stays on the eyes so well. I mean, there's not a bad shade in here. They all look super gorgeous on the eyes. They're all extremely well formulated. And I have a couple other ABH palettes, and this is probably my favorite one, even though it's the one I like. The reason this is more on the honorable mentions list is because it's a very bold look for me, so it's not one I would dip into every single day, but just because it doesn't work as well as an everyday natural look for my specific skin tone. But if I am in the mood for a bold makeup look, I will absolutely go for this. It's so much fun. I love the colors in it. It's just really awesome all around. Alright, so we're at the end of the video. Those were like 15-ish of my absolute favorite beauty products. So my top 10 and my honorable mentions, they're just pretty much all around great. I would highly suggest any of them to you guys. If you guys are interested in seeing more of these beauty related videos, or you want to see a list of like my top 10 favorite eyeshadow palettes, let me know. I'd be more than happy to film them because they're fun and don't take nearly as much time, effort, and planning as my book looks, so they're a lot easier for me to just like get out to you guys, which I mean is a bonus. It's fun. But yeah, so thank you all so much for joining me today. I hope you have a beautiful day. Stay magic, keep reading. I love you all so, so much. Bye!